Okay, so I've reset the PC and now we're doing the Windows out of the box setup from the United States. Yes. Yes again. No, I don't need a second keyboard layout. Now we're going to accept. And now we have to add our account. And I'm going to try to do a local account, a non-Microsoft account, see what happens when I click create account. Let's create your account. I don't want to do an email account though. Get a new email address? No, I don't. I'm gonna hit back. Hit create account again. And I'm really just trying to do like a local account. Maybe you can't do that anymore. This is frustrating. Wow. Other ways to sign in. Okay, so the trick was I unplugged my Ethernet cable, and now I can create a local Windows account. So that's interesting. If you're connected to the internet, you literally, that's not even an option. They make you create a Microsoft account, but I just unplugged my Ethernet cable, I'm offline, and now they give you that option. So that's a little trick, I guess. I'm gonna call the name Jake. Sure. Give it a password. Security nonsense. I'm gonna turn all these off, but I'm not sure if it matters. And then let Cortana help get things done. I don't think Cortana even works anymore, so I'm going to say not now. Okay, so here we are at the desktop on Windows 10 Home Edition. Um, like I said, it's got Windows Spotlight um, as opposed to just the Windows background logo. And you can right click that, you can open that, gives you some insights onto where these actually are located in the world. And you can switch to next. Just kind of go through all of them. And every time I reset one of these computers, it starts at a different one, which is funny. And so I reset this PC the other night too, and it's a little different than what it is now. On the search bar, there was like a news. There's like a little picture here, and if you hovered over it, some news captions would pop up. I think it's because I unplugged my Ethernet cable when I was setting it up in order to be able to create a local account instead of a Microsoft account. So it's like a little bit different from the other night when I did it, which is kind of funny. It all depends on, oh no, there it is. It popped up. It probably just got the update because I'm connected to the internet now. That's so weird. And then that weather pops up there. But anyway, this is the default Windows 10 home. And there's the taskbar. It looks like it's in light mode. And everything's stock here except for I did add OBS to capture the screen recording. On Windows 11, you could just use their snipping tool, but Windows 10 doesn't have the screen recording feature in that. But anyway, we can kind of just go through everything here. Just a general overview of Windows 10 Home. There's all your programs. You got 3D Viewer, Calculator, Calendar, Camera, Clock, Copilot, Cortana, which I don't know if you can even use anymore. Most of these are all just Microsoft Universal apps that they do. The modern apps that are supposed to be tablet and phone friendly. That's what most of these really are, and a lot of them are kind of useless. But some of them, Clock I use, Camera I would use, but I use on other computers. But this one doesn't have a webcam or anything built in, or a microphone for that matter. So sound recorder doesn't really work. So you got some Dell freeware that they included because this is a Dell Optiplex PC. I got Feedback Hub, Game Bar for recording, I guess, Xbox games, Get Help, some Intel freeware. You got Mail, you got Maps, Media Player. Everyone loves Media Player. I use that all the time. Got Microsoft 365 Copilot. And the one on the taskbar just says Copilot. I'm not sure if they're different. You got, of course, Edge. You got the Microsoft Store, Mixed Reality Portal, Movies and TV, which is an alternate. So you can watch your MP4 files either on Media Player or Movies and TV. However, Movies and TV is kind of more designed towards actually purchasing stuff, whereas Media Player you just play your files and your music files and video files, whereas Movies and TV is really just movies and TV, but Media Player is more all around. So I like Media Player, Movies and TV. If you don't purchase Movies and TVs for Microsoft, there's really no need to use that. But it is set to default for your MP4 files, I believe. So you might have to change to Media Player for playing your video files by default. Got OneDrive, which I wouldn't be able to use because I'm in a local account. OneNote for Windows 10. Outlook. There's a Mail right there and an Outlook. So I'm not sure what that's about because I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. That one's like the newer one. You got Paint 3D. In Windows 11, you have to download Paint 3D if you want that. Phone Link to link up probably just your Android phone. I don't think Apple iPhones would work with that, but then you've got your much beloved Photos app. Displays all your photos, and it's a great little program. You got settings, of course, the modern control panel, I guess you would say. So control panel's still here, but a lot of it just redirects you to the settings app. You got Skype built in. I don't know if that's came just with Microsoft or Dell put that in. I think Microsoft bought Skype at some point, so that's probably why that's there. You got Snip and Sketch, allows you to capture little snippets of your screen. You can do just a little portion of your screen or the whole screen. You got Solitaire and Casual Games. I'm sure I'll play that every night. You got Sticky Notes to give yourself some friendly reminders, because I'm very forgetful. You got Tips, so gives you tips on how to use the computer. I don't know. You've got Voice Recorder, which I use on my laptop all the time, but I can't use on this computer because I have no microphone built in. I've got a weather app, whatever that does. I have location turned off, so I don't know if that would work. Got Windows accessories. Now, there's some cool stuff in here. You've got character map. Look at all those cool characters you can use. Possibilities are endless. You've got Dev Home Preview, Math Input Panel, of course, Notepad, Paint. I still use Paint. Do you use Paint? Or is, I don't know. It's nostalgic, so I still use Paint, whatever. Don't make fun of me. Quick Assist. Never used that. Remote desktop connection. Now this is a Windows 10 home PC, so remote desktop doesn't really work. You can't, maybe you can like remote into other computers with this app on a Windows 10 home, but I know that you can't have other computers remote into this computer. But it is on there, so. Then you've got snipping tool, and as we saw before, you have snip and sketch and snipping tool. Snipping tool is the older screen capturing tool, picture image capture and editor. Snip and sketch is the more modern universal Windows app. However, in Windows 11, there's just snipping tool, but snipping tool was combined with snip and sketch, and you get the added benefit of you can capture, you can screen record with snipping tool on Windows 11, which is really cool. So here I'm using OBS Studio, but on Windows 11 I could just use the snipping tool, which is pretty awesome. You have your steps recorder that just records certain things you do. It's not like a screen recorder, but it captures, like, if you click something, it'll capture, if that makes sense, rather than like screen recording. It just captures the steps you take. Like if I were to go down here and click on Outlook or right click there and click Task Manager, it would like record that or something. I'm not sure. I've never used it. Windows Fax and Scan. I do not have a fax machine. I want to get a scanner though to scan some stuff and like convert it to digital. So maybe I'll use that at some point. Then you've got your legacy Windows Media Player, which I believe is the only way for you to burn music to compact disc digital audio discs. Now in File Explorer, you can burn data discs on CD or DVD, but in Windows Media Player, you can burn to actual CDs like that play on a legit CD player as opposed to just a CD-ROM drive in a computer or something. Although a lot of DVD players do play MP4 files and stuff like that. A lot of the more modern ones do. Then you've got WordPad, which is just like a Microsoft Word, very bare bones Microsoft Word. It is included. Pretty cool. We've got, that was the last one in the Windows accessories. Then you've got a whole bunch of administrative tools. Component services, computer management, which is just an MSC or an MMC snap-in that has like 9 other MMC snap-ins. You know, like services and task schedule and all that. Defragment and optimize drives, disk cleanup. Now, Windows kind of comes out of the box. They already do this. They already have scheduled defragment and disk cleanup and stuff like that. So I don't find myself using it, but event viewer, if you want to audit stuff that happens on your computer. iSCSI initiator. I've never dealt with iSCSI, but it's there if I ever do. ODBC data sources, 32 and 64-bit. I plan, you know, it's always there. I always see it there. I just never know what it does. Performance monitor helps you. It's actually pretty handy. I mean, especially if you just get a computer, you can use performance monitor to gauge like performance. So if I wanted to see what this computer could do, I could use performance monitor to basically graph the output, like of how much resources my PC uses and stuff like that. So say I want to see how many tabs I can open in Edge or Chrome, how many videos I can stream or something. Like how does that look, you know? Can I have 10 tabs open? And then Performance Monitor can kind of graph it and give you a visual representation of like what your computer can handle, which can be pretty handy. Then you've got recovery drive. It's always good to create one of those. Um, that's where you create a USB drive, and basically it just saves the uh, recovery partition, which is like 600 megabytes or so. It just saves it to a USB drive, or you can also just save the system state, which basically gives you the option of resetting the PC. And so you would use the recovery drive in that case if you can't boot into Windows, because you can just reset the PC from Windows settings too. But that's comes in handy if you can't boot into Windows. Then you have your registry editor. You have your resource monitor, which is performance monitor. You can just access resource monitor directly from performance monitor. They have like the same logo, although they're not quite the same thing. Resource monitor can tell you different things about like how many handles certain programs are using and stuff like that. Um, you got your services, just lists all your services and which ones are running. You can stop and start some if you have the privilege, because a lot of them are dedicated system services that you can't really mess with. But some you can turn off, like print spooler. I don't have a printer, so I can just turn that off from services. You have system configuration. It can you can kind of determine, you can go into like different boot modes and stuff like that, safe boot and whatnot. You have system information, which pretty much anything you want to find out about your computer is you can find in system information, or MS Info 32, I believe. You type that into the run dialog box. You got task scheduler. There's a whole bunch of tasks that come kind of pre-built into Windows, and you don't really notice that they're running, but they do. There's tasks that run in the background. You got Windows Defender Firewall with advanced security. Um, if you ever need to tweak your security settings, make it tighter, you can go in there and set some rules. You got Windows Memory Diagnostic, which will test your RAM. You got a Windows Backup there. Windows Ease of Access, magnifier, narrator, on-screen keyboard, Windows Speech Recognition. For all you older gentle folks, you got Windows PowerShell. You've got your PowerShell and ISE, both 64-bit and 32-bit. Very handy stuff. Big fan of PowerShell. You can do some cool stuff in there, especially with the ISE. You can test stuff out before you officially run it. Then you've got Windows Security System, and in Windows System, just a couple of leftovers they didn't know what to do with. You got Command Prompt, which was replaced by PowerShell, but you can still use Command Prompt. You got Control Panel, which was replaced by Settings. However, I I'm, I think there's still stuff that you can only do from Control Panel, but a lot of it just redirects you to the settings. And then of course you got File Explorer. You got to have that, and the Run dialog box is there too for some reason. You've got Task Manager, and then you've got your this PC, kind of like a virtual folder that just shows you basically any external storages that are attached to your PC. In my case, I don't have anything except for the C drive. Let's click it, see what happens. Yeah, it's local disk C and the DVD-RW drive. Now, I do have two other partitions on my hard disk. So this is my hard disk, local disk C. This is the DVD drive. But if I go to disk management, you can see I've got three partitions on this one physical disk. I've got the healthy EFI system partition with all the important boot files. Then you have other boot files and stuff on the C drive as well, but your Windows System 32, all that stuff, plus your personal files. And then you've got your healthy recovery partition. Now this is the partition that gets copied over to that recovery drive if you create that, the Windows RE, Windows Recovery Environment. And CD drive, CD-ROM, DVD, D drive. I've got nothing in there, so it says no media. But yeah, there's your disk management. So there's a way that you can view those other two partitions in File Explorer somehow, some way. I've done it before in the past, but I forgot. So yeah, that's your start menu. Plus you've got the Xbox console companion. And you've got some charms over here that you can turn off as well. See, it's already telling me to sign into a Microsoft account. Remind me later. I'll get around to it, don't worry. And then on the right side of the start menu, you've got your tiles that you pin to start. So they're all over here, but you can just pin them to start if you want. I don't really use them, so I just kind of delete those at some point. Here you've got OneDrive, OneNote, Skype all in one little tile. But yeah, this is all built-in stuff. And then on the taskbar, if we just kind of start clicking stuff, notification area, we've got all of our little notifications. We can turn on Nightlight, go to settings from there, project to other monitors, set up VPN, do some screen snips. I never use that to get to those things, but they're there. You've got your time. If you click on that, a little calendar pops up. You've got your volume meter. Right click that, go to settings. Right click that, troubleshoot, open network and internet settings. Right click that, open Meet Now. Or just hide it, which is what I'm going to do. Got some notification icons in this tray. You've got Windows Security, no actions needed. It's good to see. OneDrive, not signed in. OBS. And then you've got this mother of a little pop-up that has a whole bunch of news articles and whatnot, which I've never looked at. So I like to just go to News and Interests, turn off, and there, it's off, just like that. And here, I like to unpin some stuff from the taskbar. So I'm going to unpin that. Microsoft Copilot. I'm going to unpin that. And then this crap. And some more, some more articles and stuff that I don't need. I don't want that there. I don't like the search box in general, so I just like to say search icon. I don't mind that, that's fine. So then when I type there, oh, they show up anyway. Great. Can't get rid of it. So there's your taskbar. And then if you right click the desktop, you have some options. You can view different size icons. Click large. They get all big, magnified. You can sort them by different things, but it doesn't matter. You can create folders. You can create shortcuts. How about www.ebay.com? Call it eBay. Now when I click on that, just internet browser, I go to eBay. Could be handy, I guess, if you're in a rush. You can create a bitmap image. Maybe edit it with Paint or something. Open with Paint. Just make a picture. Yeah, that's so cool. Got to keep that on the desktop. Give him a little hair, some fiery orange hair there. Yeah. Save that. Can create some rich text documents. I woke up today happy because my grandpa is taking me to Toys R Us. Yay! There. And you can add a picture. I don't have any pictures really to add. I guess I can add my. I can add that. I don't know. Yeah. How about that? Got a rich text document on the desktop. Boom. Can create a text document. Compress zip folder. Call it zipper. And copy that to that. Just compresses stuff. So if we open that, that's 19 kilobytes. How much is that? That one is 748 kilobytes. So yeah, it cut down on the size there. We can move that. We can move that into there. And just create a bunch of folders and whatever nonsense you want to right on the desktop. I just use the desktop for, just temporary stuff that I'm working on. It's pretty convenient. So yeah, you can go to display settings, personalize. We can change the backgrounds. Go to just picture, get that generic Windows picture, or you can go anywhere there's image PNGs or let's see here. Let's go to a system image. Um, Default account tile. Let's go with that. Yeah, that looks cool. There. Nice. That's a great background, huh? I love it. And you can choose your background color. You can get fancy. Let's go with some sort of yellow. There. Now it even makes the rest of the background yellow. And then just highlights certain things like on your taskbar if you wanted to. But I think you have to go to colors and tweak some stuff. You can choose a custom mode. You can choose the default Windows mode, light or dark. The app mode, light or dark. If I change the default Windows mode to dark, it changes my taskbar down there. And also gives me the option to show accent color on the Start Taskbar Action Center and title bars and window borders. So now, if I go to that, it makes the File Explorer colors different. Although it's blue, I thought it'd be yellow, but it's blue. Oh, for some reason, okay. I thought I changed that, but let's do teal. There. Now my taskbar is nice and teal. When I go to File Explorer, it's nice and teal. Look at that, it's beautiful. And then, yeah, so you can just mess around with the star. You can make it full screen. You can go to taskbar, move that to the right. Look at that. It's weird. I like it on the bottom. Some like it on top. I like it on the bottom. That's just my method, but you do you. So yeah, there's your settings app. Look at even the settings tiles are like teal. It's like kind of all over the place. So there's your system You got display, you can change the size of stuff. Look at that, wow, that's horrible. Go back, revert. Can't deal with that. Yeah, you can change display orientation if you've got one of those really tall, skinny monitors. You can do portrait. So here's all your system settings. You got display, sound, notification, actions, focus assist, power and sleep, storage, tablet, multitasking, projecting to this PC. Although you need Miracast, and I don't have a Wi-Fi adapter on this. Shared experiences, system components, clipboard, remote desktop, which I don't have because this is Windows 10 Home. Optional features, you can see what I have installed, and you can add a feature. Those are the features you can add. And then there's also, if you go to turn, just type turn and hit turn Windows features on or off. There's also a bunch of stuff over here, and I'm not sure, like, I don't think all of it is in there. See, this is like a control panel applet, Windows features. This is settings. There's some overlap, and yet there's also some non-overlapping, so it's kind of confusing on like what are the optional features. You've got Windows features in there, and then you've got the optional features in the settings app. Again, just control panel versus settings. I wish they would just move everything over into settings, and so you could do it all in one place. Then you have your about, which gives you some information about your system. And if you want to know, it doesn't show your product key though, but if you do want to view your product key or keep it and just record it down, you can just go to just a good old-fashioned command prompt. You can type WMIC path software licensing, software licensing service get AOA3X original product key, and there. Now I can put that in a text document, write it down, record it. So if I ever need to reinstall Windows and they're asking for a security code, I've got a product key. I've got my product key. So a little tip for you: just go to the WMIC path software licensing service, get OA3X original product key. They don't like show it anywhere, so it's kind of hard to see that. But you can go to the command prompt and get that information, which could be useful. You never know. So yeah, you've got system, devices, mobile devices, network and internet, personalization, apps, accounts, time and language, gaming, ease of access, search, privacy, update, and security. If you go to apps, it'll list all of your apps that you have installed on your computer. But then, if you go to control panel and go to programs and features, it only shows those. So you see the difference there. Like, there's only like 8 in the control panel, but on the settings app, there's a whole bunch of them because the universal Windows apps do not show up in the control panel. So it's just like confusing. You're like, what do I have on my computer? Well, according to this, I've hardly got anything, but according to this, I've got a whole bunch of stuff. So you can uninstall and stuff from there, whatnot. Yeah, there's the settings app. You can go to, if you want to boot into Windows Recovery, you can go to Recovery and go to Restart Now. And that'll boot into Windows RE if you ever want to reimage your computer. Handy. You got troubleshooting, Windows Security. You can check out the actual Windows Security app. It's in settings, but if you click on those, then it takes you to the actual app. Let's check out your virus and threats, account protection, all that stuff. Mm, that's about it for the settings. I mean, can mess with that, mess with your, can create a dial-up connection, which I haven't used dial-up since 2007, but it looks like it's still an option. You can set up a VPN connection or a web proxy server if you would want to. What else is there to talk about in Windows 10? If we go to just File Explorer, let's check out just your basic folders and files in File Explorer. So by default, they've got quick access up here. You've got desktop, downloads, documents, pictures pinned. Music and videos doesn't look like they're pinned, but they're there too. OneDrive. This PC, it sort of mirrors, it copies, it's got all of those plus 3D objects, plus your local disk, plus your network, which you have to turn on network discovery to actually use that. See, it says network discovery turned off. And then you would just go into your file and sharing center. Network and sharing center, sorry. Go to change advanced sharing settings, and you could turn on network discovery and turn on file and printer sharing for either public, private, and so forth. So if you can't share files on your LAN, then you need to go to the Network and Sharing Center from Control Panel. Yeah, there's your basic file explorer. You've got your C drive with those. You can just check out, go to users. I'm the only user at the moment. Let's create a new user. How about that? That sounds fun. If we go to user accounts, manage another account. Oh, it's just going to take us to settings. See, everything just links back to settings now. Add a new user in PC settings. Add someone else to this PC. I'm going to do a non-Microsoft account again. There. Username, Sarah. Just do the security questions again. There, now I've got another local account. And this one, it's going to be a standard user account unless you specifically change it to administrator. So the first account we created out of the box, right, is automatically an administrator account. But then after that, every account you create, it's a standard account unless you change it to administrators. Sometimes you don't want other people to be administrators. You want to be the only administrator. Yeah, this is your control panel on Windows 10 Home. These are kind of your default control panel applets. You've got administrative tools, which was on the start menu. It's got all those same tools there. Got autoplay. You can choose what happens when you insert blank DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, all that stuff. Windows backup and restore. You can create a full system image. You'd have to attach an external hard drive, and it'll save all those partitions that we looked at in disk management. You've got your EFI system partition, C, and Windows recovery environment would all get saved to an external hard drive. And then if you need to reimage your computer, you could use a recovery drive and then boot into Windows RE. And then as long as you have your external backup drive connected, you could re-image your system. So that's pretty handy. You can also create a system repair disk there, which is the same thing as a recovery drive, only on a CD, and it's a little different, but it boots you into Windows recovery environment. But CDs are obsolete, so they moved to USB drives. Then you can set up a recurring backup, right? And then you can choose which files and folders you want. You can just do personal files, whereas this create a system image was basically the entire hard drive just gets saved. But this is just if you just want to do your personal files or whatever, and then you can back up the system files in a different manner. So yeah, there's your Windows backup and restore, color management, credential manager to manage all those credentials that I've never managed. Maybe Windows manages them for me, I guess. I don't know. Can change the date and time, change time zone. Can change that to India East. Because that's where I am. I'm in India, believe it or not. It's true. I'm watching, I've got cricket going on, and I'm just kind of in the corner of my eye. I'm just keeping tabs on the score on the cricket match. It's 86 to 40. The good guys are winning. So then you've got default programs. Set your default programs. These just take you to settings app, I believe. Yeah. And you can change. See, my default video player is movies and TV, but me, I would change that to media player. I don't use movies and TV. Sorry. I don't purchase anything from Microsoft that way. Again, takes you to settings. Auto control panel just redirects you to settings. You've got device manager, which is an MMC snap-in, which you can access as well from the computer management. Devices and printers. Can go to the properties for all those. Ease of access center.
Always scan this section.
Yes, always scan the section. You heard the man. File Explorer options. Obviously, you can access this in File Explorer, but if you want to do it from here, you can. You can change some settings. You can unhide extensions for file types and whatnot. And then you've got file history, which is basically meant to replace the backup recovery tool we just looked at. This just saves your personal files, and then it uses the recovery applet to kind of configure system restore, which backs up the system files, the critical system files, as opposed to your personal files. You can also create a recovery drive from there as well. And if you recall, create a recovery drive is also an option in administrative tools. So there's a lot of ways to do the same thing. Windows is extremely redundant. They try to make it as easy as possible for us plebeians. And you've got your fonts. Okay, I want that font. I want Microsoft Yahoo UI. And I also want that one. I want them all, man. I'm going to install them all. Got indexing options. 576 items indexed. Interesting. Okay. Internet options. I don't know how effective this internet options applet is anymore. I don't know if it actually deletes anything. Like I don't know if you have to go to Edge or Chrome to delete stuff, or if you can do it from internet properties, but it just seems like an old applet that's out of date. Same with keyboard properties. You can do all this in settings, I believe. Keyboard, mouse. There's your network and sharing center, phone and modem. Set up an old dial-up telephone. Power options to change, when the display turns off. I'll make it 15 minutes. Save changes, sure. Then you've got programs and features, recovery, region, just little trivial things like how the month and the day is just as displayed. Welcome screen and new user accounts. Change system locale. Remote app and desktop connections. There are currently no connections available. Okay. Moving on. Security and maintenance. Just a little hub to look. You can click on that. It just takes you to the firewall settings app. Which if you click on that, You can do scans and whatnot. View, same thing, takes you to the same place. You can change UAC settings, make them more strict, less strict, whatever. That's your security part. Then you've got maintenance. You can view reliability history. This will tell you some warnings or errors and stuff like that. Like if your computer shuts down randomly, it'll probably give you an error there, and it'll show you, I guess, a timeline so you can see when it actually occurred. So if everything's clear now, but in like 2 months, I just have a whole bunch of exclamation points and red X's, then something might be off. Go back to control panel. Sound tells you where your speaker, how many speakers you've got recording, if you've got a microphone recorded, and you can test all the sounds. You can change them too. You can just change them to whatever you want, really. And then nothing happens. There's not a sound associated with maximize, but you can, if you want to, you can say ring 5. Wow. Wow, I love that. So now every time I maximize something, wait, that didn't work. That didn't work. There we go. So if you click on this, if you restore down, and then you restore back up, it plays that ridiculous like techno dance thing. So that's awesome. Storage spaces, create storage pools. I think storage spaces is sort of like meant to replace RAID. See, you can do a little bit of RAID in disk management. You can set up redundant array of independent disks. But generally you want to do hardware RAID if you're going to do RAID. So I think storage spaces is like maybe meant to either replace or just be a more modern version of software RAID on Windows. You can create a new pool and storage space there. We've got Sync Center. Nothing's really showing up. You've got System, which takes you to Settings. We've already seen that. Taskbar navigation, Settings, Troubleshooting. You can troubleshoot programs, hardware and sound, network and internet system, and security. User accounts, and then you've got Windows Defender Firewall. Now this is just like a simple little firewall hub. If you want to really mess with the firewall, you would have to go to Advanced, and that'll open the MMC Windows Defender Firewall with advanced security, so you can set inbound and outbound rules to make your computer safer or unsafe. If you want to just test out, if you're into cybersecurity, you can make it unsafe and then on another computer try to break into your PC or whatever just to test things out. Start, just make it easy to break into and then progressively make it harder. I can see that as a valuable learning tool, just using here and just changing the inbound and outbound rules, making it more easier to break into the system, to learn about cybersecurity. So that's pretty handy. And then lastly, we've got work folders. And if you click setup, you have to give them a work email address or a URL. And you can set up work folders, which is basically just it's like cloud storage. If you live a half hour from your office, you can still access important work files that you can work on from home, but it's saved to your file servers at work or whatever, all that cloud stuff that people are into. So yeah, there's your control panel. I like the control panel. I still like going here and like messing around, but Windows has been trying to replace control panel with settings slowly but surely. I think they're trying to migrate everything over to there. And we saw that we clicked on a bunch of stuff, it would just take you right to settings. But yeah, there's your control panel. What else is there to see in Windows 10 Home? I don't know. Here's your Windows folder, all your critical system files. Got regedit there. Let's check out see what MMCs we have and stuff. Let's go to PowerShell or something and like try to find out what we have. Let's see here. I'm just gonna do a dir asterisk dot MSC. So those are all our MSCs we have available to us. We've got ASMAN, some sort of authority manager. Got CertLM and CertMGR, which kind of shows you what all your certifications are for Windows. So behind the scenes, Windows uses like a certification program to determine if programs are safe to run on your computer. So say you developed an app or some sort of software, you have to create a certification and like have it digitally signed and all that stuff. So that's where you would go for that. I've never done it. You have COM-EXP, component object model EXP experience, I don't know, exponents. There you manage your COM objects. We've got comp mgmt.msc, which is actually just a collection of a lot of these other MSCs. So, I mean, let's go to comp mgmt.msc. And as you can see, here's our computer management. And you've got task scheduler, event viewer, shared folders, performance monitor, device manager, disk management, services, WMI control. A lot of these over here. Task schedulers over here. Event viewer.msc, disk management.msc, device management is over there. So a lot of these are in computer management. So again, kind of redundant, but it is there if you just want to see a bunch of different things at once. And you can add your own. I don't know. I think you'd have to open up the MMC, Microsoft Management Console, to add your own MSCs. And there are other MSCs that you can get from Microsoft or whatever that aren't included in Windows out of the box. But these are the ones that are included. And if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to get a list of all our services and save it into a text file just for future reference, just show what we have on day one. I guess you could say get service pipe into sort dash property. I like to sort it by status. You could say descending, pipe that into out file path C : / users / Jake / desktop / system info day one .txt. Hit enter. We've got this system info, and it's got all of our services. It tells me what I had running on day one, because remember, we just reset the PC. We set up our first administrator account. We're on day one. So you can go into PowerShell, get a whole bunch of information about your system, save it into a text file, and then at some point down the line, if the services are out of whack and you can just compare it to this. You can see what was running on day one. Maybe a third party installed some bogus services you want to delete or stuff like that. You can compare it to, you can redo that command, compare it to this file, and yeah, kind of handy. You can see other, there's other stuff you can grab. There's all sorts of stuff you can grab from PowerShell. You can say get local user, and this tells you how many users you have. So you've got the built-in administrator account, which is disabled by default. And in Windows Server, it is enabled, and it's the first account that you set up with. But in Windows Home versions, non-kind of domain server settings, the administrator account is actually disabled by default, but you can still enable that and use it if you want to. And then you've got a default account, which is just so a default account is for when anytime you start a new account, it uses the default account as a baseline. So when I started the Jake account, it had that Windows Spotlight background, and the taskbar is different now because I changed it. But if I log in as Sarah, it would be just like when I first logged in as Jake because it uses the default account as a template. Then you have guest, which is also disabled. And then Jake and Sarah are the accounts we've created so far for us. Then you have a WDAG utility account. And so if I wanted to add that to my text file, I could just output that outfile dash append c:\users /Jake /desktop /system info day1.txt. Hit enter. Now, when I double click that, did I mess up? I probably typed in the name wrong. No, I failed. Oh, I didn't put a dash in outfile. Okay. There. There it is. So I can just create a text file with a whole bunch of like system stats from day one. All your processes, all your services, all the accounts you have active, all the groups that are built in. And then you can compare it down the road, and it's kind of a handy little tool. Whenever things go wrong, you can compare it to day one. Get local group. So there's all our local groups, and we could append that too. So if I say and just get local group outfile. There. Now I've got all my users, I've got all my groups. And then you can add parameters to get even more specific. But it's like if some point down the line you start seeing you see a random user that you didn't create, you could be like, what the heck's that? Maybe somebody broke into your system. Maybe they infiltrated your internet and got through the firewall, and they created an account. And so you could just compare it to day one, see like, oh, that doesn't belong there. That service shouldn't be there. So pretty handy. So anyway, that is kind of Windows 10 Home operating system, just kind of a broad overview.